Sister Ricca, who is here with us today. Sister Ricca Dimalibot. She is the General Counselor with the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word that's based in Houston, Texas. The sisters serve those in need in El Salvador, Guatemala, Ireland, Kenya, Mexico, and the United States. And she is a family medicine physician who runs the Christus Point of Light Clinic, southeast of Houston. So I will pass it along now to Sister Ricca to discuss more how the Catholic strategies in our outreach to Catholic Latinos ties in with her part of the presentation. Sister Ricca?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And it is really a privilege to be with all of you today and talk about one of my favorite topics, caring for our common home. Let me go ahead and share with you my screen. I want to talk first about the Catholic context. The Catholic Church is in an incredibly remarkable position to respond to climate change. We have the Catholic social teachings to back us up in spreading the gospel message, plus we have the logistics. Let's look at the United States statistics in 2020. Almost 68 million Catholics, which comprise 20% of the population, almost 200 dioceses, 17,000 parishes, 35,000 priests, 45,000 religious sisters and brothers. We have thousands more of advocacy groups and ministries like CCL, and thousands of ministry infrastructures like churches, schools, hospitals. And in addition to that, we have millions of acres of land. And incidentally, half of the educational institutions in the world are run by faith groups. And religious groups are also the third largest group of investors in the world. So think about that for a minute. Can you imagine the impact if all people of faith take the challenge of climate change seriously? What if we leverage our number and influence in politics, finance, agriculture, social services, and many more? Unfortunately, we have not capitalized on this potential. If we work together and address all sectors of society to care for our environment, we would reach the critical mass for radical transformation. And that number is not even enormous. According to the social scientists, it only takes 3.5% of the population to reach the tipping point. When 21 to 25% of the population embraces the change, then we will have the critical mass necessary for systemic change. And there's no going back from that. But to care for Mother Earth, we first begin from within. We need to change our hearts before we could change our minds. We read in Laudato Si 2:17 that we need an ecological conversion, whereby the effects of our encounter with Jesus Christ become evident in our relationships with the world around us. It is an essential aspect for a life of virtue. To care for our common home is not optional, it's obligatory. We need a new consciousness regarding our relationship with ourselves, with others, with society, with creation, and with God. There can be no renewal of our relationship with nature without a renewal of humanity itself. Dialogue is required to approach the solution from every possible angle. And this brings us to integral ecology. The Catholic Church has a very ambitious goal to complete the transition to integral ecology by 2030. When we think about solving the environmental problem, we cannot look at it in isolation. We have to work together for the common good. It takes each one of us working together toward the solution. This is the path to integral ecology. It emphasizes that everything is closely related. Integral ecology pulls together an integrated version of living and caring for creation that sees the importance of dialogue between the different sectors of society, like the environment, economic, political, social, cultural, and many more. It seeks a comprehensive framework and innovative solutions that welcome all ideas. An interdependent world obliges us to think in terms of one world with one project. We require a new and universal solidarity. When the different sectors of society sit at one table, our hope is for them to influence better policies, advancement in technology and research in the service of the whole of creation with preferential option for the poor. Now, I want to tell you about an exciting new program from the Vatican called Laudato Si Action Platform. Pope Francis tasked the dicastery for promoting integral human development to begin a 7-year journey through transition to integral ecology and sustainability in the spirit of his landmark encyclical. There are 7 sectors invited, and they are, as you can see in this slide, families, educational institutions, the economic sector, religious orders, parishes and dioceses, hospitals and healthcare centers, organizations, and groups. And again, that's like the CCL. And there are 7 Laudato Si goals that we want to commit to. And these are set by the dicastery. The first is response to the cry of the poor. And this could be in the form of recycling and greater use of clean renewable energy and reducing fossil fuels. The second one is to respond to the cry of the poor. This is about defending human life from conception to death with special attention to vulnerable groups such as indigenous communities, migrants, and children at risk. Ecological economics involves sustainable production, fair trade, divestment from fossil fuels. Fourth, adoption of simple lifestyle. Examples are conserving use of resources and energy, avoiding waste and single-use plastic. Ecological education is about rethinking and redesigning educational curricula to create ecological awareness and action. Earlier, I talked about ecological spirituality. And the last one would be community engagement and participatory action by promoting advocacy and people's campaigns. Supporting the work of the Citizens Climate Lobby, the sponsor of this conference that you are attending right now, is one important step toward advocacy. Now, for us who belong to religious communities, participation will be built on 3 pillars. First, by making a public commitment to the 7-year journey. Second is to transition to integral ecology. And third is journeying together through networking and advocacy for systemic change. I included this slide here because I have a suspicion that this would be a part of what would be encouraged in the other sectors that I mentioned earlier. The dicastery encourages the plans to build upon what you are already doing in ministry. The plan has to be simple and gradual, inspiring and flexible. The soft launch is on May 25th, 10 days from today. It's a day after the 6th anniversary of the launch of Laudato Si. The Global Catholic Climate Movement will connect the sectors in the US and will provide digital support. And I'm pretty sure that if you Google it, you'll find a lot of information on how to start and join LSAP. So how do we plan to reach out to our brothers and sisters? First, to change the mind more expeditiously, we first need to change the heart. Begin with contemplation of God and the beauty of creation to discover new insights. Reflect on our attitude toward material things. Some have advocated confessing our sins against creation. Attending or organizing creation care themed liturgy is also one effective way of encouraging our brothers and sisters. We need to create healthy Catholic engagement with politics, avoid causing polarization through highly politicized language, address root causes like racism, poverty, predatory investing, keep well informed about current issues and engage in conversations, connect climate change with physical sickness, poor mental health, social injustice, talk about the poor environmental infrastructure exposed by the pandemic, support groups that advocate for farmers, indigenous groups, and climate refugees, and so much more. Now, education cannot be overemphasized. We need to show facts and avoid heated arguments. Provide concrete, significant actions that are doable and actionable, but not too complicated. Avoid shaming. Listen to the voices of the communities most impacted by the climate change and value what they have to say. Offer support and affirm their experience. Share their story with the rest of the world. Invite people to visit power plants, climate refugees, victims of environmental injustice, and reflect on what you see and take action to be part of the solution. Now, building relationship is so crucial to our work. We need to focus on what unites us and not what divides us. Find common grounds, celebrate positive steps towards sustainability, look for ways to work together instead of competing with each other, share resources, remind everyone of our shared responsibility to care for the earth and each other, and emphasize that working for the good of the earth benefits all of us. Lead by example. We need to walk the talk and show our values, live simply and make lifestyle changes. Ask ourselves about our compulsion to consume. But caring for our common home is a way of life. Ecological conversion is a path toward God. Allow your personal encounter with Christ to bring about a greater sense of personal responsibility for our common home. Now, finally, I want to leave you with these words from Father Thomas Berry, who invites us to ask ourselves these questions in the spirit of Laudato Si. Is my next thought, word, or deed sustainable, life-giving, viable for me and the universe? Is my next thought, word, or deed an expression of intimacy and community with Earth? Does this awakening nurture gratitude and joy in my nature? Is my next thought, word, or deed an expression of my commitment to solidarity with those who suffer from violence, of global disruption and degradation? In this moment, when we can't do everything, let's do what's possible. Thank you.